Hello, guys. Good afternoon. Let's start with today's discussion of how to pass array through a function. It's one of the very important and interesting topic, and it's quite different. Instead of passing a value through a function directly, how to pass a how to pass an array through a function. A 1D array and 2D array, both we are going to look in this lecture. So I have already discussed lots of previous 2 or 3 lectures regarding functions. I discussed about how to pass the general value, normal value, entire value, float value, or mixing type of values to a functions. And I already gave my last lecture on recursion of a function, right? So let's start with some example, because this is not a theory topic. Mostly we are see in the question in examination, they are giving the questions how to pass an array through a function. So you will just write the programming concept through your own words, and this is not any definitions and something like that, but you have to know the how we can pass an array through a function. So let's start with simple example how to pass a one-dimensional array through a function. So this example I am showing you here. So in this example, you will get that this is a 1D array. It has been declared. The array name is age. For sake of simplicity, it has been declared as a compile time array declaration, right? It contains 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 values which are float type. So it's an array of float type which contains 6 values. And this result variable actually storing the results, the return from the particular function calculate sum. So what is the job of this program? The job of this program is very simple. It will calculate the addition of individual numbers together, and the result will return into a result variable, and that will be printed as output, right? This is the overall job of this function, to calculate the sum of an array element by passing to a function. Now, how we are going to pass this array instead of parameters? So check it out in the function call section. This is the function call. The function name is calculate sum, is the defined function, where we are passing the function name directly, as it is a compile time declaration of an array. There are two procedures. If it is a runtime declaration of an array and the size of the array has been declared or has been read through the keyboard, because in previous program I have already shown how we can declare the size to an array, and how we can read those size through a scanf functions. Okay, so here the size and the values are predefined. So in case of runtime declaration of an array, we should not predefine this. We actually compile time during the runtime through the keyboard. We are defining the size of the array, and then one by one we are giving the values through the scanf function again. So in that case, the variable declaration and passing the array will be in different form, that I will show you in the next example. So in this example is a simple one. We are passing only the name of the array. We are not using any third bracket, any square bracket here, okay, to represent the array. If you give any square bracket here, that will be an error. Okay, this is a function call. Now during the function definition, this is the function definition. So obviously function call is little bit different from function definition. In function definition, this is return type float, and one argument, that is the function, that the array is actually passing through the function calculate sum. In function definition, we must use a third bracket here, the blank third bracket. We don't use the value here, size of value here. Okay, that I need to, and that I need to tell you. Okay, we can also pass the size of a function through another another argument of this function, that I will show you in the next program. So this is an array name followed by the blank square bracket. Okay. Now then we will do the iterative job operation of summing individual elements, each and individual elements of the functions. So some variable I've declared 0.0, and then this within the initial value of the sum, the next value of the array elements are added one by one, and the last value it will return from this function float type, that is sum value, and it has been called by a variable result. Okay, you can directly print the value here. If you don't return anything, if you use void instead of float here, then you can directly print the sum of the value here. Okay, the same result it will return. Clear? So this is the array. If I want to run this code, let's run this code first. Go to the online GDB compiler of C. I have copy paste this code and run this code. it will not demand any value because it's a compile time declaration. So it will simply add all the values and give the results, return the results of addition or summation of all the array elements here. Okay. Now let's return back to the node. So in this case, uh, uh, this is one of the way. Now I'm showing you how to pass a 1D array with its corresponding size value, right? So just go to the previous code here. So in this previous code, we have written like that. Uh, okay. One program I have shown you in my previous class to find maximum element, in an array, right? I have shown you. If you remember, if you go through the previous lectures, you will get it. How to find the maximum element from the elements of the array. And this the same program I'm going to show you today by using functions. How to find the maximum array elements through a functions, and I'm going to show it. Okay, this is a program. I did it for you, and let's go to the online compiler. Check it out the program. A main function is there. If you go through the previous program, previous lectures, you will find I have already shown you this program without doing a function definition there. Here I am passing the array and its corresponding size. So here the first thing that I enter the size of the array. I have read the size through the keyboard during runtime, and then I have read individual elements of the array at runtime. Right now I am calling, this is a function call. I am calling the max function and passing the array name that you have seen in the previous. I have already shown in the previous program. I am passing the array name here. The array name is a that I have already declared with the value of 20, and n is the size of the array. This is the size of the array, and this is also the size of the array. So what is the difference between these two size? This size has been predefined. So the maximum limit or maximum number of elements through this program, whatever you are calling, it should not be greater than 20. It should be less than or equal to 20, right? But here, by the help of n size, you can increase or decrease the size during runtime. So you are not you are actually just giving only just mentioning that size which are required for that particular time of iteration. Okay, you don't need to put all the values of 20, right? So here we will pass the size variable n. So how many arguments we are passing? We are passing two arguments in this function. In the previous program, we have passed only one argument. Okay, we are not passing the size of the array. If you go through the previous program once again, you will get we are passing only the array name that was age. But here the array name is a, and we are also passing the size of the array n as a second argument. Now go to the function definition. This is the function with definition max. Obviously, this function does not return any value. That's why I have used void. And within that max, we have used int array name and int followed by the size. Okay. So obviously, I'm using a third bracket. I have told during the function call, we are not using any third bracket. But during the function definition and function forward declaration, we must use the array name and corresponding to third bracket or square bracket. Okay. Now, the logic is similar to the previous logic which I have already discussed. So let me just remind the logic once more. We have considered the first element or assume the first element as the maximum element. The first element of the array is a of 0 as a maximum element. And now for I equal to 1 to n, that means our loop is running from the second element of the array. I equal to 1 means the array always start with an index 0, and our loop execution start from index 1, right? Our loop execution starts from index 1. So in this case, uh, this one, and it will iterate up to the nth element of the array. Now if a of I is greater than max, that means the next element, a of I means I start from 1. So if the second element of the array is greater than max means the first element stored by the max. If the second element is greater than the first element, then now the max value will be replaced by the second element. So if it is not, then the loop will run again for the next value of I plus plus. Suppose I plus plus is I equal to 2, and it will check whether a of 2 is greater than a of 0 or not. Whenever any greater value than the first value will be found, then it will be replaced by the maximum value. Okay, it will replace the old value of the max by the new value of a of I. So in this way, finally it will store the maximum value into the max variable, and we can print the value here, right? So these are function prototype declarations. We will look at it. So run this program for the execution. It gives an error, expected declaration or statement at the end of the input. So I did a mistake. Okay, I forget to omit the extra second bracket here. So again, we are executing the code. Yes, it will demand the size of the array. Suppose I have given the size of the array as 5. Now the elements of the array 3, 7, 9, 1, and 5. So 5 elements I have already given. Now it will give you return to the maximum element, which will be 9. Check it out. Yes, successfully the program has run. It will return the maximum element. To find the minimum element, nothing else. Instead of greater than max, we will do less than max. Not max here. To make it more sensitive, we will do it as minimum element. Mean. Okay, you can change the function name. Okay, as per the job, as per the task. So I'm not changing it. I'm just changing the necessary thing. I'm not changing all the things. So these are the way of changing it. Now to find the minimum element of an array. So again, the size of the array is 5, 7, 9, 1, 4, 8. Obviously, it will return 1. Let's check it out. The maximum element is 0. Okay, it will return the value 0. I think there is a mistake. So try to find out the mistake first. We will consider the first element as a minimum element. If a of I, the next element is less than the minimum element, then a of I is now minimum is replaced by a new element a of I. So it will consider the first element. Suppose 7 is assigned to min, 9 comes after min, 9 is not less than min, so it will omit. For the loop will repeat again. 1 is less than min because 1 is less than 7. Now within the min, 1 has been stored within the min variable, right? Now again 4, whether 4 is less than 1. Now the current min value is 1, so 4 is less than 1. No, loop will repeat again. Now 8 is less than 1. No, loop will repeat again. So each and time it will execute that thing. I think the program logic is fine. Let's run the program once more. 4 values 7, 1, 2, 6, 1. I don't know. Last time it was not correctly running, so it is the correct one. So right now the minimum value it has been given as 1. Clear. So this is the program of how to find the minimum value. So this is the one. Now the last one that I want to discuss, that how to passing the multi-dimensional array. Especially we are going to focus at how to passing a 2-dimensional array through a functions, right? Very simple, similar to the passing the 1-dimensional array. So instead of 1 dimension, it will consider 2 dimensions. So for sake of simplicity, again a compile time declaration of the array has been discussed. Okay, only the array has been taken in runtime. Array elements has been taken in runtime. So the function name is display numbers, and just pass the name of the function, that is num. Now it will receive the functions with these two values. So one you are declaring the You can directly use the numbers as well through the third bracket and printf display, and you will get this value. Okay, so you can match the function prototype with a function call. Okay, and how to pass the array. So I think your conception will be clear, and how to passing one dimensional array and two dimensional array through a functions. And I have shared some notes and also read your books regarding these things. It's part of the function chapter. You will get it. Now, from the next lecture, we are going to start with a new topic, that is C pointer. Okay, how to use pointer, and one topic we have left in the function chapter, how to pass an address of a variable instead of the value of a variable. Till now, whatever thing we have passed through the function, all the functions are carrying the values. Okay, as for example, this is also array. Array represents a value. So instead of passing the array values directly, or the variable values directly, we are passing the address which where the actual value has been stored into your computer memory or computer stack memory. So that we are going to see after giving some basic concept of C pointer. Okay, because it requires the address require the concept of C pointer variable. Okay, so in the next lecture we'll start with C pointer variable. So thank you for watching this lecture.